are now going to build on the patterns that you could do with our straight line ruler. So what I've done here, just using the scroll lines, I've just done a grid shape, and we are going to do some different patterns in each section of the grid, just to show you how you can build up the different patterns, and as your abilities grow, you can do more complex stuff. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to line up. So we're going to use this dashed line here, which is the 1/4 inch away from here. So we're just going to place our foot down, our needle down, okay, and then we're just going to sew, and but we're not going to go all the way down. We're just going to stop. Okay, and then you can just turn it round again to make sure we get the 90-degree angle that we're after. We just put the sewing that we've just done underneath this line. And then we just carry on sewing. Make sure you stop with your needle down, because that means that you can move your ruler around with no problems without you losing your spot on your material. Just going to do the same thing here. Each time we're not going to stop at the end, we're going to stop before the end. And this kind of pattern as well, if you are just starting out, gets you into sort of practice and the routine and the rhythm of how to move your ruler. That gives you the different angles, the different shapes that you require. So it's just a good one. And also you could use this on a quilt as a border, or you could use it as a more of a coverall pattern. Very simple, very easy, and as you can see here, does not take much time at all. Okay, so I'll just show you what that looks like. There you go. The second design, which is a similar sort of pattern as before. So we're just going to line up where we want, and again we're going to sew, but we're not going to sew all the way to the ends. Spin the ruler around and go line it up here with this scroll line, so we're getting the nice angle that we're after, and scroll and sew all the way to the bottom. And then this is where you can decide how far apart you want your spacings, how close together you want them, and again just use your scroll lines so you can get your exact measurements that you're after. Okay, again lining it all up here, putting the sewing on just underneath this line, and then just scroll to the edge, sew to the edge. I'm just going to go down slightly. So this is another pattern which you can be used as a coverall, and it can be used for any size quilt as well, any size project. You can make it work for a smaller project, a larger project, just whatever you have in mind for what you are doing. So this ruler can be really flexible. Although it just looks like a straight line, it can do a lot of different things. Okay, that's the second pattern done. So we've put our needle down in the middle, and we are going to use our 45-degree angle on one corner, right down. So we're going to do a central diagonal line. Okay, and then you stop when you get to the corner. I'm just going to turn the fabric around a bit here so you can see what I'm doing. So we are then going to sew up here 1 inch. So we know where the inch is because we've got the inch marker here. Okay, and then when we get there, we are then going to use the markers at the side of it here on that line that we sewed previously. We're going to put those on, and then we're just going to sew all the way back to the top. Okay, and we're going to repeat that again. So we're going to sew across here for 1 inch to the 1 inch marker and stop. and then use our scroll lines again. So in this case we are using not the dotted line, we are using the second solid line in. So that solid line is going on the diagonal line that I've just sewn previously. Okay, and then until we stop, until we get there. So now we're going to put some lines going on the opposite direction. Okay, so where we've stopped there, we can just sew all the way down. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing again through the inch marker point. Use our scroll lines and sew off the other way. Okay, so take that off so you can see what it looks like. And then we can continue this pattern to make diagonal lines all the way along. So it's the exact same process as it was before, and just until we've completed the whole section. Okay, when I get to the bottom, I'm just going to go up here. So you don't have to do diagonals on this, you could do the exact same process to make squares. So you could fill your quilt with squares, or you could just do the one diagonal line one way or the other. Again, it's just this ruler in particular, it can just be whatever shapes that you can think of. Okay, so there we are. So I am now going to go down this way. Okay, and each time I'm doing a line, we know that they are going to be consistent because we are using the markers every time. So even though it looks like all these lines are on there and you're not too sure what they're for, all got a purpose, and they all will help you create the patterns that you're after by making them consistent and the angles correct. So I'm going to take that off now. Okay, and I can show you that finished one. So the last one that I'm going to do on this grid, it's a bit more sort of less structured, I would say. It's just a case of just picking a point where you want to start, and you'll see in a minute, and I'm just going to do lines. I'm going to stop and then do a line in a different direction, and a different direction. You can join them up with the previous ones if you like, or you can just, so it's just sort of making a maze of lines almost. So that's the beauty of this ruler. You can do really structured patterns with the measurements, so they're exactly the same width or the same distance apart, or you can just go and do a bit more freestyle, however you fancy. You can also do centerpieces with this ruler, so if you wanted to do flowers or anything like that, but anything that you can use a straight line shape with. Okay, and then eventually I'm going to try and join some of these back up. And this is again a good way of just how you can keep the material still. The material can stay where it is. So if you've got a large quilt and you don't want to be rotating it round, the material can stay still, and as long as the needle is down, your ruler can move in any direction. Okay, so I'm just going to do a bit more on here, just to fill that up a little bit, that space. Now I should go back here. So again, there's no plan when I started to this as such. You're just free to use whatever directions or any patternlets that you can think of to do. Okay, join them all up if that's what you want to do. and you could keep doing this for as long as you like. I'll just finish make this my last one, and then I will take that off. And again, if you notice, I did all that in one thread as well. In fact, I've done all of these patterns in one thread, so it's just, you don't have to keep stopping and starting all the time, you can just keep going. So that is a continuation of the straight line ruler, just a few extra ideas of what you can do with it.